Good, good evening. Welcome, everyone. It is my pleasure to call our regular Board of Education meeting to order this evening. If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The full board met in executive session earlier today, so I can suspend the roll call. However, we will start now with extraordinary educational experiences. We have many things to celebrate.
That is right, we do. We have lots of special folks in the audience tonight to recognize. First, we are proud to celebrate 4 members of the class of 2024 who have been named National Merit Semi-Finalists. Congratulations to our 4 seniors on this recognition of their academic excellence. Each will now continue in competition and is eligible to earn scholarships to post-secondary institutions across the country. These impressive students are Nicholas Devine from Oak Park, Claire Hearson from Northtown, Ahmed Guler from Staley, and Antonino Libarnes, also from Staley. Congratulations.
Well, this is one of the best recognitions that we could offer, and it's so nice to have the representation from 3 of our high schools here. Congratulations to you all. We're just very proud of you.
Yes, absolutely proud of you. When you come to school every day and work extremely hard and reach the National Merit Semifinalist goal, that's pretty darn cool, isn't it? Yeah? Well, how excited were you when you heard the news? All right. Yeah, I was just always excited when my report card came home, much less when the National Merit Scholar. I wouldn't know what that was like. Would you do us a favor? Would you tell us what school you go to and then introduce people that might be here supporting you tonight?
So I go to Oak Park, and I came here with my mom and my grandparents.
Would you all stand and wave, or there you go. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank my principal for being here too.
My name is Claire. I go to North Kansas City High School, and my mom, dad, and Mr. Funderman from my school are here.
Where's Mom and Dad?
I go to Staley High School, and my mom is here, and Dr. Smith, my principal, is here.
I'm Ahmed Guler. My parents are here, and Dr. Smith is here. I'm from Staley.
My colleagues behind you would also like to congratulate you. This is just a really big deal. We're glad you're here tonight, so please.
Congratulations. Do you know where you're going? Not sure. Congratulations. Do you know where you're going? Nice. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I felt really bad that we didn't ask them what their plans were for next year, but I think we rebounded okay because they're all not quite sure. They haven't committed yet, so we're still okay. We haven't done anything wrong yet.
Next, we'd like to recognize some of our outstanding schools. This past spring, 14 of our schools earned the Award of Excellence for School-Wide Positive Behavior Support. This honor celebrates their outstanding implementation of behavioral support systems, creating learning environments where all students can thrive. Congratulations to each school for their dedication and commitment to fostering a welcoming, positive culture for all. 13 buildings earned gold level recognition, honoring their implementation of all 3 tiers of support with Fidelity. Due to the large group who have earned gold this year, we're going to bring them up in 2 groups. First, we have Shoto, Clardy, Crestview, Eastgate, Fox Hill, Gracemore, and Lakewood.
Just a minute to introduce yourselves and tell which school you're from, but I just want to say this is really important, and I know as a district something that we've continued to focus on and understand how much better the day goes for everyone, the students as well as the staff. And of course, it helps the performance so much. So thank you so much for leaning into this and helping make our schools both safe and secure, as well as a fun place to learn with good behavior. All right.
Hi, I'm Jessica Nolan, and I'm from Eastgate. I'm the principal there.
And Jeanette Smith from Shoto.
Jay Cartley, Crestview.
Andrea Edinger, Clardy.
Brittany Harris, Gracemore.
Amy Williams, Fox Hill.
And Margaret Hellwig, Lakewood.
Well, fantastic. And what we know, like President Kalk said, it's really tough to get kids to learn when they can't focus on their behavior first. So getting everyone to behave is really important, isn't it? Before we can get them to learn something. So thanks for your hard work, your implementation. And I bet you, is there staff here that we should celebrate that came with you that's on your team? You gave them the night off? All right. Oh, Renee's here. Oh, yeah, for a different reason. But, yeah, thank you.
My colleagues would also like to congratulate you as well. Thank you.
Our second group of gold level winners are Meadowbrook, Maplewood, Nashua, Ravenwood, Topping, and West Inglewood. And last but not least, Gateway 6th Grade Center was also recognized, earning silver level recognition for excellent implementation of tiers 1 and 2. We are grateful for their hard work and excited that they will become eligible for gold this upcoming spring. Joining the group tonight, we also have Dr. Lisa Friesen, our district coordinator, who leads and supports PBIS work in our district.
Well, ditto from what I said. It is, however, it is so fun to have all of our administrators here so early in the school year and at a board meeting. We really enjoy seeing you, and we enjoy hearing the good reports. And even if they are struggling reports, we want you to know that we're here and we're with you through all of it. So thank you so very much. I know with your behavioral opportunities that things will just continue to get better and better throughout the school year. So thank you.
Ditto, yeah.
Oh, okay. And again, our colleagues would like to congratulate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Can I give a shout out? I've got 3 staff members from West Inglewood. Deidre
Please.
Wright, Angela Marshall, and Rachel Phelps. We've got a 1st grade teacher, kindergarten teacher, and our behavioral interventionist. I'm new to the building, so they actually did the work. I'm just here.
Thank you.
I'm new to Nashua. I brought Catherine home. She's a 2nd grade teacher and was a really big part of why we got this award as well. So thank you.
All right.
Lisa Friesen, District Instructional Coordinator for MTSS, and I just want to give a shout out to that took time out of their evenings, our RPDC consultants that help support our work of positive behavior supports, Christy Rice and Renee Bradshaw. So they are also here supporting this work, and we really appreciate all they do for us over the years.
I'm Branson Bradley. I'm from Gateway.
Courtney Minnick, Nashua.
Catherine Holmes, Nashua.
Laura Foster, Ravenwood.
Tina Hines Booth, Topping.
Nick Pettit, Maplewood.
Micah Fritz, West Inglewood.
Jeremy Montague, Meadowbrook.
All right, fantastic. One more round of applause for all of our PBS schools.
Long days.
Hey, they're the worst.
Thank you.
I feel like that's always, we might as well be somewhere.
Okay. We have a new category tonight, recognizing outstanding staff as champions of service. Just over a month ago at convocation, Dr. Clemens and Dr. Daniels charged our district staff with an important addition to our mission. They asked us to consider how we can serve not only as relentless champions for all students, but as champions for each other. Growing our district-wide culture of recognition and support is a key pillar of our strategic plan and has been identified by the board as a priority on this year's balanced scorecard. In this spirit, we are excited to begin recognizing several outstanding staff members at Board of Education meetings each month. This past week marked IT Professionals Day. From our field techs to the engineers behind the scenes, this team is key to so much of what we do to teach, reach, and serve our community. To each of them, we say, thank you for all that you do. We're glad to have two outstanding representatives from our technology department here with us tonight. Both were recently highlighted by fellow district employees as particularly deserving of additional recognition, Jerry Durbin and Raymond Bells. A little bit about both. According to our staff, Jerry Durbin is simply amazing at what she does. As a member of our help desk team, Jerry is always ready to troubleshoot any technology issue when a student or employee in need calls. Her friendly voice on the phone is a reassuring sound to so many. One colleague said, whenever I have an IT issue, she's my go-to because she will know how to solve it and will offer some great suggestions. Jerry, thank you for your endless patience, expertise, and positive attitude towards serving others. We also have Raymond Bells, whose days often look different depending on the school he is visiting, but one thing is constant, his service-oriented approach and willingness to lend a hand. As one staff member put it, you can tell that he is passionate about helping others, whether that means delivering 20 laptops in one afternoon or assisting with all the questions that come up once students log into those laptops. He is focused on setting others up for success and never hesitates to jump in when needed. The main office staff at Northtown put it best. We all hope Ray knows how much he is valued here, and we feel lucky he comes to our school. Thank you, Ray, for all you do to support so many.
Ray and Jerry, thank you so much. And it is true when we say help, you are there. So we appreciate you in every way. And it's nice to recognize IT because you are often behind the scenes, but you help make everything and every one of us be able to do our work and for days to go smoothly. So thank you so very, very much for that.
You have your own fan section. That's pretty cool. And I'm in that fan section, by the way. You know, not everyone recognizes that we have over 25,000 devices that are out in our schools. And the range of users is from pre-K through me probably now. The pre-K kids know it a lot better than I. And I appreciate all the times that you support our faculty. Sometimes when they're extremely frustrated, things aren't going their way. You guys are always so kind to them and help them figure it out. What I have learned is that user error is probably our biggest problem. If we can just get over user error and then you go to restart. And then, so I've learned really well from you all. You might have a job for me in retirement. I wouldn't be much help. I could deliver maybe, but I just want to say on behalf of our staff, we really appreciate you guys being so kind to us when typically the problem is us and not the computer. So thank you very much. You guys have folks you want to introduce? You better, Ray.
Yeah, right. My wife is here, Renee. She's the TLC at Eastgate, and she's put up with me for way too long, so thanks.
She has. My parents are here, actually, and my brother and my husband and several of my coworkers were kind enough to come. So.
Greg, good job, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Since it was IT Appreciation Week, I also want to say that we are live streamed as a board, and there is a group of individuals that are behind cameras and never seen by anyone that are here at every board meeting. So I really appreciate them, and also reminding us to turn on our mics when we don't, so that you all fine folks can see us and hear us when we're streaming. So we appreciate you and every other person in this IT team. So I would also invite anyone here that does not want to stay through the rest of the meeting. You may be excused if you would wish, or we do invite you to continue to stay and enjoy our passage of the budget tonight. So. I will proceed with visitor comments and invite former Councilwoman Heather Hall to the podium. And I'm sorry, they would have loved to have heard you. So I maybe excuse them a minute too early, but.
Thank you so much, President Cow, Superintendent Clemens, Board of Education members. Thank you for your time tonight and letting me be here as a recovering councilwoman. It's been about 7 weeks since I've been on council, and I've noticed that since August 1st, I've had 60 less meetings than I had in July. So to say my life has gotten a whole lot more peaceful is an understatement. But to be here with you has been something I've really wanted to do since I left office. And so what I wanted to do as a thank you to this school district and to the other school district which I served during my tenure, which was Liberty Public Schools and North Kansas City, was to give you all a parting gift. We've done a lot together. We've built tons of sidewalks so that our kids can have safe routes to schools together. We've built or renovated a whole lot of schools in this district, and we've figured out ways to do things in ways that I believe have made education better for all of our children. And whether that's a pothole or a light or a sidewalk or a community area, I think we've done a lot of great things in the last 8 years, and I've been so grateful to have a partnership with you all over those years to do that. So thank you for that opportunity to serve and protect these children and make them into great adults that we want them to be. And hearing all these principals and teachers, that's what they do every day, is help educate those little lives so that they turn into be adults who don't maybe have to ask for the help desk like you and I do, right? And so I appreciate that they do that. So tonight what I wanted to leave you with was something that also became near to my heart while I was serving over the last 8 years. Was we've talked a lot about inclusion and how we help bring all sorts of people together. But one thing that we were missing in Kansas City was the inclusion and the accessibility for people with disabilities. And we weren't doing that well. And we started doing it better over the last 8 years. And I'm really grateful for the partnerships of a lot of different people. So many different groups have helped me see and open my eyes to disabilities that I didn't know we didn't have, that we had, that were impeding people's abilities to learn and to grow and to become better. And so what I did was I purchased enough books for your libraries to all have a special book from Variety KC, which is called Maddox's Dream. And this is about a young man who couldn't get on the airplane, and he couldn't go here and couldn't go there and couldn't go places because of the wheelchair that he was in. And we in Kansas City are finally making things better. And you all, with all of your schools, every single new school project that you all are building, you have taken this into account. You have taken this into consideration, because every one of your older schools, there was no way for a child with a wheelchair or a walking device or any kind of mobility issues to get to the gym even, or to the cafeteria, because the schools were built prior to that being something we thought about. And you all said, okay, we're going to fix that. And you did, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm going to give these to my friend Christy Babb, who is a librarian here at Newmark Middle School. And Christy is going to help hand all those out to all the different librarians of all the different schools. So that's great. But I also wanted to recognize Christy, because she did something that, again, if you don't know what you don't know how to ask for it. And she has a student at at Newmark Middle School that is in a wheelchair that needed an adaptive PE bike to ride. So she, on her own, decided to reach out to Variety KC, and she asked them to donate 2 adaptive bikes for the students. And Variety donated to your middle school 2 bikes for the children in that school to be using. And I think that is the kind of amazing work that your teachers and all of the people in your staff do to go out on their own to figure things out to do that didn't even cost you any money, but it was something that she was able to do. She saw a need, and now you have students who are actually getting to physically work out alongside the other students. How extraordinary is that? Isn't that amazing? I think that's awesome. So thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for what you do. Just a side note, today was the 102.1 Radiothon for Variety, and they raised all this money for sensory bags to go into every school in the Kansas City area. And you all, Dr. Clemens, you and your team have accepted the offer of, I don't know how many it is, maybe 100. I don't know how many bags it is. I'll lie to you if I say the number, because I don't remember it. But a sensory kit. So Variety raised the money today through this telethon, and they're going to give you, they're donating to you, 1 sensory bag for every school for children who just need a little bit of help, whether it's ADA, whether ADD, whether it's autism, whether they have any kind of just emotional need where they need to have a weighted blanket or noise-canceling headphones or a fidget spinner or sunglasses to calm them down. Every one of your schools will be getting that as a gift from Variety to thank you for what you do for students and their and the work that you can do and make things better. So I just wanted to say thank you. I enjoyed my time with you. I will say I'm glad I'm on this side of it for sure. But that doesn't mean that I don't miss the time we had together and the projects that we did to help kids' lives get better. So thank you for the time tonight. I appreciate it. Where is he? There's my legislative aide, Matt Vokey. He's not my legislative aide anymore because he still works for the city and I don't, but he came tonight because he wanted to see this through as our last final act together. So thank you, Matt, for all your work. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for all your hard work. All right, on with the agenda. Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. And opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. The consent agenda. Treasurer's report, please. Dr. Ward.
Okay. Do you want to take a vote on the consent agenda?
After we go through this.
Treasurer's report, it has been distributed before the meeting, so everybody had a chance to review it. In summary, I would point out that both the revenue and expenses are in line after 2 months, which I would hope was the case, and indeed is the case. We are underway with our audit, which it's that time of year. We finished the year, and we have an audit in progress. As you may recall, we have a new auditor we're working with this year, and hopefully we'll get a continuation of the clean reports we've been getting. That would be my expectation. The only other item I would raise is the fact that both Dr. Clemens and Dr. Daniels have been in touch with colleagues in Clay County as active discussions continue about the Royals moving to our district, and it will have an impact of an unknown nature. And that's the reason to stay on top of it and to stay in touch with the people that are working on it. So Matt and I would be more than happy to entertain any questions or comments.
Any questions? Comments? Any other questions or comments on other items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the agenda is approved. Thank you. Our next item, we have no separate consideration items, so we will next move to the oath of office for our new school board member. The board, through the past couple weeks, has been going through a process of interviewing individuals that had submitted an application for our school board vacancy. We had 13 applications. We interviewed 3 of those applicants yesterday, and we approved Susan Hines to join us at this board table. So she is now going to take the oath of office and join us.
Thank you. Okay, should I face you? I'm just going to look at you.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Missouri.
And the Constitution of the State of Missouri.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
And that I will faithfully and impartially.
Perform the duties of school director.
Perform the duties of school director.
In and for the North Kansas City School District.
In and for the North Kansas City School District.
County of Clay.
County of Clay.
State of Missouri.
State of Missouri.
To the best of my ability according to law.
To the best of my ability according to law.
Congratulations. Upon signing this, then we will invite Susan to join us at the board table, and also invite her to introduce her family, please.
Thank you so much for this honor and opportunity to engage with the school district. I would like to introduce my family, who are relentless and constant supporters. So my husband, Matt. And then I have a kindergartner here, Poppy Ann, who's at Briarcliff. And then I have my 3rd grader, Charlie, who's in the PECS program. So thank you so much.
It's very nice to meet you, and we have her on Tuesday nights every other week, so we appreciate you sharing her with us. All right. Our next item is public hearing of proposed tax rate, and Mr. Fritz.
Yes, I have Steve Marriott, our controller, is going to present on the proposed new tax rate.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. It's that time of year where we come to you every year and ask for approval of the tax levy. These levy calculations are prescribed and verified by the state auditor's office as required by state law. This year, the district's overall assessed valuation increased by $401 million, or 13.6%. The Hancock Amendment to the Missouri Constitution is intended to ensure that operating tax revenue remains neutral or level from year to year with the exception of new construction, and only allows for a maximum increase of 5% due to reassessment. With that in mind, our operating levy had to roll back to meet those requirements. So our operating levy decreased by 28 cents this year. The debt service levy is calculated separately based upon estimates of the debt payments that we have and reserve amounts. And that levy increased by 19 cents this year. So the net is a decrease of 9 cents or 1.6% of the overall levy. If I did the math correctly, for a $100,000 house, that would be about an $18 decrease in their taxes from last year. This evening, we're asking for your approval of the resolution setting the total tax levy at $5.60.11. Be happy to answer any questions you may have about the process or anything else.
And as this is a public hearing, we do invite anyone from the audience to address the board or Mr. Marriott regarding this information. Seeing none, are there any questions from the board table? All right, seeing none, then there is a resolution. Dr. Ward, do you have the resolution before you?
I don't.
I'm sorry. Can you get to it? Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of the North Kansas City School District that the 23-24 tax rates be
Mike.
set at.
Mike.
This is Mike.
Start over. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Be it resolved by the Board of Education of the North Kansas City School District that the 23-24 tax rates be set at $2.2626 per $100 assessed valuation for the general or incidental fund, $1.90 per $100 assessed valuation for the special revenue teachers fund, 13 cents per $100 assessed valuation for the capital projects fund, $1.3085 per $100 assessed valuation for the debt service fund, for a total of $5.6011 per $100 assessed valuation for all funds. And hereby authorize the President and Secretary of the Board of Education to sign the form, estimate of required local taxes, and approve the filing of the form with the county clerks of Clay and Platte counties.
You have before you a resolution. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor of approval of the resolution as read signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And the tax rate is approved. Thank you. The next item is final budget. Mr. Fritz.
Yes, thank you. First, I'd like to cover some technology aspects with our board and our audience in that when we pull up the document from board docs, it immediately, depending on which system you're using, if it does in fact open in Safari, you will see a document with no page numbers or anything like that. However, at the bottom there is a little icon that allows you to hit display mode, and once you hit that display mode, you will see a table of contents and page numbers in the upper left-hand corner. So that is just it's one of the things that Safari is the only web browser that opens the document that way and requires you to take an extra step to get to the bookmarks and or table of contents and the page numbers. So with that in mind, hopefully everyone can follow along a little bit easier than last time I presented. They're bookmarks so that you can flip between different sections. This is a large document. That's what makes this, that's why we put all the bookmarks in there, so it's easy to navigate. And additionally, it tracks the page numbers in the file. If you were to open this in Google and or Acrobat, the original file will open automatically with these additional enhancements. So, on that note, this is a revision from our original budget brought to you in June. One of the big items we just changed is the tax rate. We didn't have our assessed valuation information at that time in June. And so this is the major reason that we bring back this budget in September now. It used to be August, but we do it now in September so that we can file the tax rate by October 1st. The new tax rate drives all of our local dollars, which, as you'll see in a minute, is a big portion of our revenue. So if we go to the financial section and click on the fund balance pages, we can see it begins on page 30, and that it shows our current year-ending fund balance of 22.38%. And if we go to page 31, you'll see what our budget entails. We have we begin with that same beginning fund balance, and then go through to the actual the estimated receipts. That should say estimated, and I apologize. For 23, 24, what am I, my screen? No, I'm not getting there. I apologize. There we go. I was looking at the wrong page. So we have budgeted receipts this year estimated at $378.3 million. 322 of that is in our operating funds. Our operating funds drive everything from salaries and benefits to purchase services. Our debt service fund is strictly utilized for the payment of our bonds, and our capital projects are delineated between our regular capital projects and then our special bond projects, which you'll see we don't have a huge amount of revenue because we issued those bonds last year, and we will be spending down those bonds, as you can see in the third column over, the $123 million of spend on the bond projects. Our total budgeted expenditures for next year are $513.5 million, leaving us with the ending fund balance at 17.1%. The next two pages, or I'm sorry, the 2 pages on page 33 is our fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. And you can see there the history. The 2 black lines represent the board's goal of plus or minus 2% of 16%. That's been the board's goal for the history shown here. Lately, and we've been a little bit over that, and I think a lot of that stems from planning for growth. We had a short pause in our growth due to the last couple of years of COVID, and things just haven't gone as planned, and so we've carried on. You'll see that one spike there in up to 25%. At that year we had received a large federal payment right prior to year end, and so that's why you see the spike there. But again, our goal is to be in that plus or minus 2% of 16%. So our projected ending fund balance falls directly in those parameters. The next page, page 34, will show us the revenue projections for all funds. That's all of our funds mentioned, debt service, operating included. Again, $378 million in revenue. A large portion of that, as I mentioned earlier, comes from our local taxes, which we just set that rate. And it's almost 65% of all revenue that the school district receives. The next page, page 35, you'll see just the operating funds, and you'll see that the local funds there account for 60% or $194.6 million. And those are the major things that have changed in this budget. We've additionally included some, the next page, page 36, shows our assessed valuation. You can see the new amounts. That one's kind of hard to see on the screen if you're looking at home, but if you're looking on your individual computer, you can kind of zoom in and see where our different assessed valuations came in. I think our real estate items came in at upwards of 17 or 18%. And overall, as Mr. Marriott mentioned, we ended up with an overall increase of over 13%. If we go to page 39, you'll see a history of our tax rates. And one thing that I've added to this document over the years is as a 5-year increase / decrease in the total tax rate that's underneath the total tax rate. That shows the difference from today's rate or that year's rate compared to 5 years ago. And as you can see, our 23-24 rate is down over 82 cents from 5 years prior. The one other item that our other large portion of revenue comes from the state, of which it's made up of Prop C sales tax. So the next page, page 40, will show where we estimate those revenues to come in at. It's just close to $29 million. The dollars per pupil is up this year, estimated at $1,360, up from $1,286 in the prior year. So that's good news. We looked at our state payment for average daily attendance. So on page 42, you'll see the weighted ADA calculation. Again, hard to see on the screen, but there's a lot of information because it's historical. There's a lot of inputs in there. But ultimately, you can see on there our average daily attendance is taking a little bit of a dip. We are allowed to go back 3 years in the current system to get our highest of the last 3 years for our state payments. And so you'll see some of those calculations at the bottom of that page. On the page 44 is the actual estimates for revenues in that line, which we are looking at. I think in June we were expecting $71 million, and with the revisions to some of the inputs, we've had an increase recently in our free and reduced lunch counts. We had a dip in that because the federal government started paying for everybody's lunches. We stopped getting that reporting information, but we did an excellent job last year of getting that caught back up, and we are now seeing a more realizable number of students that are qualify for free and reduced. So that's one big factor in there. And our ADA has allowed the going back 3 years has allowed us to keep a more steady revenue from that source. If we move on to page 52, you'll see our total budgeted expenditures. That again is for all funds. That's again $513.5 million. You'll see a lot of capital outlay in there. You'll see our biggest expenditures being our salary and benefits. Dr. Ward often reminds me that this looked a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page, page 53, which is our budgeted expenditures for our operating funds. And our salaries and benefits make up 73% of that number. So our people, as Mr. Harrell mentioned to me many times in my career, that we're a people organization. We have over 3,200 employees at any given time during the year. That fluctuates a little bit depending on who's here and what they're doing. But that's our biggest expense, and so that's where we spend most of our money. With that, I will take any questions that the board may have.
Just a quick question, Matt. So how much did you say we were spending per student?
Per student? If we go back into the informational section, I'm going to be able to find this, I think. Let me see. If I were to guess, I'm going to guess around $15,000, but I'm going to find it. It is in the informational section under the Missouri District Report Card, and that's going to be a report that's provided by DESE back to us based on the ASBR information that we submitted at the end of last year. So what we would, I'll find that number specifically. It's that report itself is also page 288. Thank you, sir. So let's see here.
Current expenditure per ADA.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Harrell. He's done this a time or two. Yeah. 14,000. Let's see. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
Current expenditures per ADA. We are at, in Missouri, that's Missouri, we are at 10,977 as of 2018.
And that was on page 288.
Yeah. For some reason, that report is not showing the other years. So I will definitely get back to you and get you a solid number. This is a report that's prepared through DESE, and so we typically add it to our reporting, and it appears as though something is either gone wrong or we're not getting that information in here. But I will follow up with you and make sure you have that number.
Other questions?
It's quite a
With information you presented, Mr. Fritz, we're adequately have financial resources, we believe it, to make it through the current school year with the fund balance of projected at June 30th of 2024 of about 17%. That puts us slightly above the Board of Education goal of 16% plus or minus 2%. So in my estimation, the school district is in a healthy but not a wealthy situation, and again has the resources to operate the current programs that we've got in place for the current school year.
Thank you. And Dr. Clemens helped point out on page 301 the district level per pupil total is $13,154 for 2022. Or I'm sorry, 13,199 for North Kansas City, 13,154 for Missouri.
So we are pretty much right at the state average.
Yep, a little bit more, but yes.
I guess the only the comment I would offer is that the executive committee of the board went over this in detail with Mr. Fritz, and we reviewed all of the assumptions that were embedded in here, and we agreed with the assumptions embedded in the budget that's put together, and we fully endorse the budget for your consideration.
So at this point, I would, unless there's further discussion or questions, I'd entertain a motion. Oopsie, I've been bad with these tonight. Entertain a motion for approval of the final budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, same sign. Abstentions? Motion carried. Your budget is approved. Thank you for your laborious work and really detailed explanations across the last few months till we got to this point. I really appreciate it. You and your team. I know it takes many to put this together.
And if I might, Madam President, what this motion and approval by the board does is enables Mr. Fritz to file with the state on a timely basis our budget, which is required that we fulfill and provide every year. And it's due by the end of the month, so I am trusting that he will find a button to hit and they will have it.
Very good. Thank you again. Our next item is property liability and workers' compensation insurance renewals, and I'll turn to Mr. Fritz again.
Yes, we work with Lockton as our broker to obtain appropriate renewals. The district's property liability and workers' compensation insurance policies expire on September 30th of every year, this year being 2023. We've been working with Lockton to evaluate our needs and secure renewals for effective October 1, another thing that we have to get done here in a few days. The property policy underwritten, Lockton worked with all of the components of our plan to secure renewals. District expenditures for premiums on these policies increased approximately $111,941, up from $3.7 million in 22-23 to $3.85 million in 23-24. The year-over-year cost increase is 3%. It's due to an overall 4.4% increase in exposures, meaning we've got more buildings, we've got more people, we've got more space to cover. So with that, the overall rates decreased by 1.5%. So the property policy underwritten by Chubb is quoted at a 10% rate increase or $181,000 increase. The increase in exposures is driving most of the increase in property values, have increased 8%. So the property values have increased. We've also got additional space, and part of the reason our property values have increased is because we've done such great work on updating our buildings, as has been mentioned already tonight. The general liability, automobile, educators legal, and umbrella policies underwritten by Glatfelter are quoted at an overall 4% rate increase or $79,000. Again, a small increase. The workers' compensation policy is quoted at a 12% rate decrease based on decreased experience mod. So we're having a lot less accidents in the workplace, which is excellent. And that's our largest line of coverage, so a 12% rate decrease there is phenomenal. The summary, the exhibit kind of shows, if we scroll down on the screen to Exhibit A, you'll see all the different lines You'll see what the expiring items are. If we keep going down. Yep, there it is. A little hard to see on the screen, but if you have it in front of you, you can see each individual line, what the expiring exposure was, what the increase in items covered are, and then the final renewals premium amounts. And you can see down there the year-over-year increase is 3%, with a rate decrease of 1.5%. And an exposure increase of 4.5%. And if there's any questions, I can certainly answer. And also I have Andrew here with Lockton if there's more specific detailed questions to help out.
Questions or comments? Dr. Ward?
I'm asking a question about the future, which means I recognize it's at best a guess, hopefully an educated guess. What do you feel like we're going to be looking at workman's comp going forward? That's a very significant drop. Are we stabilizing at a better number, or is this an aberration? Do you have a guess? I understand it's the best we can offer.
I think my best guess is we've had a little bit of luck and a lot of work towards improving workplace safety. One of the biggest things that we see at Workman's Comp is interactions with kids that aren't doing so hot, and teachers helping out and stepping in and those types of things. And so those are hard to gauge as to the ebb and flow, but I do know that we've had a lot less injuries related to slips and falls and tripping over cords and things like that. So just it's very anecdotal, but I do believe that we are stepping up our efforts to make sure that everyone's aware of and actively practicing safe workplace behaviors. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, it's a guess, but I just was curious.
Yep.
All right. I would entertain a motion for approval of the compensation, workers' compensation liability and property insurance renewal as presented in Exhibit A.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Again, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Abstention? Motion carried. We have an approval. Thank you. Legislative priorities, Mrs. Henderson. Thank you, sir, for attending our meeting tonight and for your assistance in this.
Good evening. All right. Well, another way that you can tell it's fall is not. Thank you. Another way that you can tell it's fall, it's time for pumpkin spice lattes, football, our official student count day, and approval of the North Kansas City Schools legislative priorities. So we've made our mark, and here I am again. One of the things that I wanted to point out to you tonight is, as with everything, the mission statement of this district is highly communicated to our legislative officials. We refer to our mission statement quite a bit, as well as the strategic plan. So everything that we try to do legislatively are embedded in those documents as well. A lot of this is going to be repeat for you, because unfortunately in Jeff City particularly, not a lot ever gets to come off your legislative agenda, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not so good. So just quickly, this year again, we recommend that we support appropriations for full funding of the Education Foundation formula and for the transportation formula. We'd still like to see the state of Missouri move from 49th in state expenditures for education to among the top 25. We'd like to see expanded statewide funding and support for pre-K education. And we'd like to expand statewide funding and support for increased safety and security measures to protect lives and our student data. We also would like to see increased resources to create and expand work-based learning opportunities in Missouri public schools. Additionally, we want to have more resources available to address the health and well-being of our students. We have added a new item this year, thanks to Dr. Ward and working with the Missouri School Boards Association. We would like to see funding and programs to encourage Missourians to enter the field of public education through Missouri's post-secondary teacher preparation programs, especially in certification areas of critical or persistent shortage. We are currently working with the Greater Kansas City Chamber, the Northland Chamber, the Cooperating School Districts of Greater Kansas City to make sure that they include that language on their legislative agendas. And in addition, the Kansas City Consensus Agenda, which is put together by the Economic Development Corporation of Kansas City, the City of Kansas City, the Downtown Council, and the Civic Council. We added some very broad language last year in support of public education. So if we can get some traction on this year, they'll have the ability to push it as well. I've been meeting with our lawmakers. We've got sponsors lined up in both the House and the Senate. So we have high hopes for this year. One of the things they did last year was they did something similar to what we'd like to see done for nursing. And so they think that there may be a way to go ahead and do it for public school teachers as well. Now, as always, we also, sorry, I went the wrong way, oppose a few things. We still oppose expansion of charter schools in the state of Missouri. We still oppose the diversion of federal, state, city, or county funds from public schools. And we still oppose any legislation that erodes the authority of locally elected school boards and undermines the voices of local voters. Just so you know, this year, as in past years, large expenditures and contributions are being made by national school choice groups. So it looks like we're going to be in for another fight to keep public funding for public education again this year. It's also an election year, and there are a lot of members of the state legislature that are either running for a higher office, running for statewide office, running for something. So again, depending on what happens down there, there could be a lot that happens. There could be nothing that happens. So we'll be monitoring it closely. We'll spend time down in Jeff City. We're already getting ready for a couple of dates coming up. Important dates so far. Pre-filing begins on December 1st. So around November 1st is when they'll start having legislation written up and ready for submission December 1st. And then the 2024 calendar has not been publicly announced yet, but it looks like the first day of session is probably going to be Wednesday, January 3rd. So the fun begins again. I would like to again thank you all for allowing us to present this. This is a work of the legislative community team. Ms. Gleason Miller, I can't talk tonight, Ms. Gleason Miller and Dr. Ward serve on that committee. So at this point in time, I would love to turn it back to you, Madam President, for further discussion with a recommendation that the 2024 North Kansas City Schools legislative agenda be approved by the full board.
Questions, comments?
Thank you. Yeah, I realize how hard this is to try to get things done in Jefferson City. And, you know, here again, we're spending $13,199 per student, and the state is spending $22,000, $187 to keep somebody in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a wrong equation, and, you know, I've expressed that to you before.
Yes, yes.
Still on that soapbox.
Good.
Other questions? Hearing none, we have the proposal before you for approval of the legislative priorities as presented for 2024. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And Opposed, same sign. And the priorities are approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We're now to our superintendent presentations and reports. Our first one is regarding policy, and I assume Mr. Book.
Thank you. I will be brief here. We've got a number of policies, and just a reminder, this is first read. We're not asking for any action. Please consider it, and then it will be on consent agenda next month. Most of these revisions are either updates due to changes in the law or just kind of some cleanup, some things that we found that we needed to clean up. One I wanted to be sure that you all knew about because you might be interested. There is an update to the board member ethics policy. It all looks pretty attainable, but something you'll want to be aware of. So happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Any questions? Again, these will appear on the consent agenda at our next meeting.
That's right.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item, 8.02, is the bond presentation for Bond 42. Dr. Evans, thank you.
Steve, I was going to say I was going to be brief tonight, but you took that completely out of my hands. Jeff is not here this evening, but I did promise him to put some pictures of dirt in here, Jane, so we're in good shape. We still have that. With the buildings opening up in August of 23, we'll have a short presentation tonight, but I have a few reminders for you. Chapel Hill, the open house, is October 18th from 5 to 7. I know that published and you get that information, but I wanted to remind everyone of that this evening, as well as the Lakewood-Wynwood groundbreaking. That will be October 30th, 9:30 to 10:30. In the morning, so excited for that community to see that groundbreaking as well. The activities that we have going on currently, besides the 3 major projects, we've met with McCown and our design team at HTK, and we are planning for the summer of 24. I know I mentioned that last week as well, but now we are actually in the design phase of that work, and so they can turn that over to McCown for estimates and pricing and so I should have some information on that in the next month or so for the board to look at as we prepare for summer of 24. Overall budget, we met September 1st with McCown and our team. We are on budget and on time on all our projects. I know that is music to the ears of the community and this Board of Education. With 89% of our construction budget under contract, we feel really good about where the projects are. Certainly there's always landmines that come, but as you'll see through the pictures, we are well on our way, and again, most under contract. The individual projects are in your board packet. The 2 that will be coming off quickly will be Chapel Hill and Rising Hill. Chapel Hill is here. Obviously, that project opened in August. We'll be paying some bills on that. But as you can see, it's coming offline here shortly. We have finished on the 9th of September, we were able to finish most of our punch list. We still have a couple little items. And then that project will be completely off. Again, same with Rising Hill. Those 2 projects we were able to open on time in August of 23. So for the fun stuff, again, Jeff is not here, but we do have some incredible pictures for you to see tonight. We have some aerial views. I'll have aerial views at Crestview too. We were able to do that at Lakewood-Wynwood, and this is Nashua. As you can see from this view, as we mentioned last time, the walls are up as far as the precast. Everything has been set. You can see the building, the 3 wings. As a reminder, this is the 5-section building, and it's one of our prototypes. So imagine, if you will, it's maple wood, because that's what you will see when you come into Nashua as you come in and then drop a floor. Instead of going in and going up, you'll be, as Maplewood is, it's coming in at ground level and going back down. You see the gym over to the left over there with the roof on it. You'll see that later as well, but they're they're getting ready to pour that floor, and that's where the staging area will be. This is inside view. As you can see, they're getting ready to set some steel in here. This is the overview. As a reminder to the board, we were able to kind of push this schedule a little bit so the students would have the ability to have more of a playground that we normally have in these projects. You'll see the hard play is set already. You'll actually see some equipment there, and the rest of it comes in October, so they're going to have full playground access very shortly. But we were able to get some pieces in there, put some stuff together. We have the hard play there, and then you can see the sod that was laid for their outdoor play area and soccer area as well. And again, this is the inside of the gym, the storm shelter. Getting ready to pour the floor there and get that dried in. Crest view, again, I'm anxious to see some aerial views. They're just set in steel. You'll see some roof decking there and slab on grade, but if you can see I've seen the overview of this, so you can actually see the outline of the building. It's pretty magnificent, and you'll be able to see how far it goes back toward the trees and that storm, that area back there as far as the stream buffer. There's a set, again, we're setting steel there. There's the elevator shaft, and back here obviously is the plumbing rough in and some venting. So as you can see, this building is going quickly. It's a kind of a competition between the two. If you remember, Nashua started with some soil issues. We started in November. Crestview is charging hard, and they want to catch them. So different builds. This is obviously not a precast building. The precast will be, of course, the gym. That'll also be a precast because of the storm shelter. But again, we are on time, and those projects are moving along nicely. There you go, Jane. We do have some dirt for you. This is area B and C. This is our building pad. But when you go out there at the end of October for the groundbreaking, you'll see some more work. They're putting some footings in. There's the aerial view of the building. And then obviously some site utility work and some foundation work and some footings work. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Questions? They're coming along. Thank you for sharing those dates again, so we all get those
Sure.
on our calendars. Very exciting. Appreciate it. Our last item this evening is board liaison reports, and I open it up to the table. Who would like to begin? Laura, would you?
Thank you, Madam President. I attended the IEC Pathway, and it was great. It was Monday. We got back together after, I think May was our previous one. So it was a good event. Each of the Pathway chairs talked about some of the things that they're dealing with, and then some new additions that they have. They were all grateful that the teachers for each of the Pathway programs are participating in the board meetings. It's informing the curriculum a little bit more, and it's providing more connection between what the businesses are looking for at the end of the day in new hires, and then also what the teachers are able to teach in the classrooms. It's also opening up more mentor opportunities for some of these businesses as well. So it's been a good benefit. They're also, as a industry executive council, they're focusing on expanding paid internships for students. So they're looking for opportunities to do that and ways that they can further that for every student in the district. There's also a mock interview event December 6th, and they're looking for interviewers speaking to the audience at home. So anybody that can participate is welcome. They're going to be mostly in the morning. The registration deadline for that is October 22nd. And then I wanted to mention, this is not exactly the board, it's a community opportunity, but NNI and the Northland Regional Chamber of Commerce has reached out to the district to ask about maybe hosting in our schools a discussion on race in the Northland. They're going to be, these discussions are early and they're trying to figure out logistics yet, but it's going to be a good opportunity to bring in the entire community in the Northland, just starting in our district, to begin this conversation. But as this goes forward, I'm hopeful that we can share some of this information out through our communications, and then they will also share it out to members and members of the community and members of the NNI, neighborhoods and everyone. So this is meant to be collaborative, and they're going to be dignity discussions. So we'll see how this goes forward, but I'm hopeful to have more information at our next meeting.
Two items. The co-op is kicking off, is going to conduct a campaign to raise the awareness of the community about the importance of education and the fact that we have a lot of good stuff going on. Our communication staff has already provided some of our produced messages, and those will be incorporated into what they're putting together. This was the kickoff event. About 200 people turned out, and it's just, you know, it's to just create a more positive, get a message out there that's something different than the message that's normally brought forth by the media. So hopefully it'll create a better aura and an environment to work in. The second thing is that your community work group will be meeting with Kansas City, Missouri in our standard Kansas City, Missouri, North Kansas City meetings. That's set coming up in about 2 weeks. And just as a reminder, this is an opportunity to sit down with council members and to discuss shared issues. We have councilmanic representation from the 1st, 2nd, and 4th districts. And of those 12 people, no, of those 6 people from the 3 districts, 4 of the 6 are new. So we have some bridge building to do there. Not that we're working from a deficit, but we've got to put in place some of what Heather referenced earlier, which is a good working relationship so that we can work together for the benefit of our students and the citizens served by both elected bodies.
Art. Okay. Gary?
Not yet.
All right, just briefly, I did have an interview with the new auditor tonight, or today, as a part of their process. They interviewed, so that was complete. I also have attended Oak Park and North Kansas City's homecomings, which were both delightful, and I wish Staley very good luck this week, and just enjoyed watching the kids revel in the fun and the camaraderie, and behavior was exemplary, and it just was really a joy to see them enjoying the very best part of what high school is all about, and their families out on the corners cheering them on as well. So very, very, very nice. Just moving forward, I would remind you of the Region 4 workshop if you can attend for MSBA. Our next meeting is October 10th. The workshop begins at 7 p.m., but it is also 5:30 committee meetings on that day, and the Student Performance Committee is actually going to be meeting at 1 o'clock that day rather than at 5:30. So that is it. And with no other business for the good of the organization, I really enjoyed having you this evening. Thank you. Be safe this evening, and thank you for your presentations and for sticking with us. Good evening.